Thank you for joining us again. I'm Eggplant Evelyn and I'm with Food Literacy Center. And today we're making a delicious recipe using pluots, plums, and tomatoes. They're gonna make a really delicious sweet savory dish and we call it stone fruit and tomato salad. You can go online to foodliteracycenter.org and you can find today's recipe for our salad along with our balsamic vinaigrette recipe and our supplies list. So you can make sure we have everything that we need for today's recipe. Again, like I said, this is a really simple and fun recipe, so we don't need much. We just need a cutting board, our knife, a mixing bowl with a spoon, some measuring spoons and measuring cups, and we have everything that we need. Let's get started with our stone fruit and tomato salad. It's just as easy as that. We are going to be using heirloom tomatoes. So they're not the red vine tomatoes you might find at most grocery stores. We have some delicious looking bright, vibrant heirloom tomatoes. They're yellow, orange. Sometimes you can find them in their deep purple color. They're really gonna have the flavor that we want for this recipe. So we need 2 tomatoes and we just wanna cut them into bite-sized pieces. And the most important thing is that all the pieces are the same size so that when you go to take a bite, you can get a little bit of everything. We're gonna start off quickly. We're just gonna use our tunnel to make cuts down the middle. We're putting our flat side down. So kids, make your tunnel. The knife goes through. And the nice thing about this recipe is we're using our kid-safe knife. You can use a plastic knife or a butter knife at home because the ingredients that we're using are so soft and the herbs that we're going to be using, we can just use our hands. So we really don't need a really strong knife. We can just use what we have in the kitchen. And already you can see my tomatoes bright and juicy. I don't want to cut the pieces too small because I don't want my salad to be mushy, so I'm just going to cut a few pieces. So I'm going to do another tunnel on my half. I put the flat side down and I'm going to use my claw to just cut a few times, just 3 times really. This is about the size that I'm going to keep. They're my bite size. So I'm going to put these slices in here. I'm going to go quickly again into my tunnel so I keep my hands safe. Even if I'm using a plastic knife or a butter knife, I still want to keep my fingers safe. We use our claw, just make a few cuts. So this is a really fun recipe. Already you can see how bright and vibrant these tomatoes are. You might not even think that that's going to be our tomatoes, but it's going to be really good. So if you can find, we got these tomatoes at the Oak Park Farmers Market. They have tons of heirloom tomatoes there where you can get every ingredient that you need for this recipe. These are more of a yellow, a bright yellow. So we're really just loving these bright colors that we find. They're gonna give us a really good taste for this recipe. I know you didn't think that tomatoes and plums can go together, but we're gonna show you here at Food Literacy that they can actually taste really good. So already you can see my 2 tomatoes. They have made already really vibrant colors in my bowl. I'm just going to clean off my cutting board a little bit before I cut my pluots. So we need 2 stone fruit. These can be plums or pluots. We found ours again at the Oak Park Farmers Market. They have so many different kinds and they're ripe and ready to use. So here's a nice plum. We have a pluot right here. I want to get some different colors. I want to add different colors to my mix. And I know we already have something yellow, but we have another stone fruit. It's small, so I'm just gonna throw it in because I really want to add it and have lots of different colors. These are a little bit more tricky, kids, because there is a seed inside, so you just want to be careful. We're going to use our tunnel again, but you're just going to know that there's a seed, so we're going to need to cut all the way around. And I'm going to show you the color inside if I can. So we just have our nice pluot colors. Again, bite size, so I'm just going to go in with my tunnel and claw and just make a few cuts because I want to keep it the same size as my tomato. I don't want pieces that are too small where I'm going to have big chunks and little chunks together. I really want to get them all in the same size. So we have this one. I'm using my hands. I washed my hands before our recipe. You want to make sure you do the same thing too. Let's look at the color that we're going to get with this plum. Here we go. Nice yellow orange color in there. It's really going to help our salad, but I love the color on the outside. I'm using my claw just to make a few cuts. So let us know in the comments which stone fruits are your favorites and what color tomato you like to use. If you've seen those big purple, deep red purple color tomatoes, I like using those ones too. So I'm gonna go in with my last one, my last stone fruit. I know the recipe calls for 2, but this one's really small and I just have to add it. So I'm going to go in my tunnel, claw, just a few cuts. Really don't need they don't have to be perfect either. You know, we're gonna mix this. This is a salad, so they can be a little bit different shapes. Okay, so here we go. Let's look at all of these great colors that we have in here. And what we're going to do is we're gonna add a little bit of green to this mix. Our recipe calls for a 4th cup of basil. So I have some basil again. We got this at the Oak Park Farmers Market, and basil's great because we just need to use our hands. We need about a 4th cup, which is our smallest cup. And I'm just going to tear some leaves off. It says to mince them. So what I'm gonna do is we're just gonna fill up our 1/4 cup with basil. It's about enough right there. And if you really love basil, you can add more. I'm gonna keep to a 1/4 cup. And I'm gonna make everything kind of tight with my fingers, use my claw. This might be better with a butter knife if you have one, but you can use your fingers and just cut them into really tiny pieces. You don't need anything special to make this recipe. I just want to cut it up nicely so that I can get some basil in every bite. And I'm just going to sprinkle that on top. One of our final ingredients that we need for the salad before we add our dressing is chives. So I have some fresh chives, and we only need 2 tablespoons, so we don't need that much. I have my measuring spoons right here. So I'm gonna use my tablespoon, which is my largest measuring spoon. And I'm just going to quickly chop the ends using a tiny claw with my fingers, being careful not to cut myself, not to get too close to my fingers. Here we go. And again, you can even use your hands if you wanted to tear this apart. You don't need to use a knife. It's not necessary. So we have one right here. I'm gonna add in and grab a few more and cut my chives. So this is gonna give it, now we have our sweetness from the pluots. The tomatoes are a bit sweet also. We're adding some of our fresh herbs. And you can use dried if you have dried, but if you're at the farmer's market, why not pick up some fresh herbs because they're already there and they're just gonna make the recipe pop. So you can use dried also if that's what you have available. You can get dried chives and dried basil also. Okay, we're almost done. We have our green in our salad, and we are going to need 2 tablespoons of our balsamic vinaigrette. So we have our balsamic vinaigrette dressing online for you to use. It uses a couple simple ingredients. I have 1/2 cup of canola oil in here, 3 tablespoons of balsamic vinegar. We have our balsamic vinaigrette added, a tablespoon of mustard, and a little bit of salt and pepper. And I haven't mixed it up yet so you can see everything separated. You can put everything in a jar and shake it up. I have everything in my jar. I don't have my lid, so I'm just gonna go in with a fork. You can go in with a whisk, and I'm just gonna mix it. So you can make this in a bowl, in a jar, in a cup. You might have all these ingredients at home already, so you can just make this dressing real quick. And this is gonna give our recipe a nice little savory touch. So just about 30 seconds of mixing. And we need 2 tablespoons of our balsamic vinaigrette dressing. So I'm going to measure out 2 tablespoons. Again, it's our largest measuring spoon. I'm going to drizzle this over. Awesome. And now I have extras if I want to make more stone fruit and tomato salad over the weekend. I already have that recipe, or I can use it in any other recipe. So I want to give you guys a good picture of what my salad is looking like. I hope this makes you want to go to the farmer's market this weekend and pick up all these fresh ingredients. This is a nice side salad. You can chill this. You can have it honestly by itself. It might be that good. We want to take a bite to make sure everything tastes good. So I have my bowl here. And I want to make sure I get tomatoes and I get pluots and my stone fruit and my plums in here. I want to make sure I get a little of everything. That's why we tried to cut everything the same size. And we're done. That's it. And we have this amazing recipe to welcome in fall using the last of our in-season heirloom tomatoes, our stone fruits that are so delicious. I'm gonna take a bite. I wanna make sure I get a little bit of a tomato, and I have a plum here. You wouldn't think these 2 ingredients go together, but it tastes so good. Thank you for joining us. Go online to foodliteracycenter.org to find more recipes that you can make using farmer market inspired produce. Go out to the farmer's market this weekend if you can and support our local farmers. Thank you again for joining me today, and I hope you had a fun time watching me make this recipe. And send us this recipe, tag Food Literacy Center, if you make it at home this weekend.